I will be recording the presentations and you guys will get the links later too, but I'm so glad you could join us live today. And without much further ado, they've done an amazing job. They've researched so much and they're very ready to share all that they've learned with you. So Peter Brown, take it away.
So a while back, I studied dinosaurs. I studied them a lot. And I studied and I studied and I studied. With all the information I had in my brain, I could basically be a paleontologist in 2nd grade. My name is Peter Brown, and I love dinosaurs, but I like video games better. So my inquiry question is, what adaptations could a dinosaur have had to survive the mass extinction? I was inspired to come back to studying dinosaurs because I kind of just wasn't ready to give them up. I had a lot of fun studying before, and we all want to have fun, don't we? So in order to understand this topic, you first have to understand how the asteroid killed all the dinosaurs. First thing to note, the asteroid wasn't alone. There was also a lot of volcanic activity happening around in India at the same time the dinosaurs went extinct, as proven by the rocks in that area. The first thing that happened was a giant explosion right where the asteroid landed. Scientists actually believe that the explosion was 3 times the size of a nuclear explosion, so anything in the near vicinity would have been instantly demolished. Next came a huge shock wave that shook all trees in its path. The destruction hasn't finished because the shock wave caused other natural disasters like tsunamis, earthquakes, sinkholes, and more volcanic activity. Now, the final thing that happened was a giant cloud of loose dirt and ashes that came from the explosion and the volcanic activity, covering the entire Earth, making it ice cold. This is the best I could do. So now that you know what happened when the dinosaurs went extinct, let's think about how a dinosaur could have survived the mass extinction. First thing, it had to be small to use less energy and food. Maybe pretty far away to reduce shockwave damage and explosion damage. Probably underground to protect against the toxic gas and other damage and other natural disasters. It should probably eat a lot, because if it runs out of one thing it won't have anything else. Kind of. And finally, it would have to have feathers to keep warm in the ice-cold terrain that now is Earth. So with these adaptations, I believe that a dinosaur could have survived the mass extinction. So here's my one-pager. It's kind of blurry, but here is a diagram of the mouth, and it would have sharp teeth for meat, and it would have flat teeth for plants. This is the first omnivorous raptor, as you can see from the toe there. It would also have to have feathers to keep warmth, so I did that. And I named it the Echizonaraptor. Actually, this is the actual translation. I think this is the best I could do for a Greek name. It's called Survivor Thief, if you translated it to English. And so, yeah, here's a teeny explosion. If you would like to learn more on this topic, you can visit your local library or natural history museum. This project would not have been possible without the help of my friends and teachers. I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to what I have to say about the dinosaur extinction. Brandon Elmo.
Peter. Noortje, the stage is yours.
Have you ever thought about how your brain remembers your dominant language in other languages? Well, I have, and I'm Noortje, and I ask myself many other questions about the language abilities in the brain. I'm a trilingual person, and I know that my brain works differently than a person that only knows one language. There are 17 parts in the brain, but there's one part that seems most interesting to me, and that is the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is where all your language abilities are. Now, you might ask, does your brain ever get messed up with different languages? Yes, that is what we call code switching. Code switching is when you switch from one language to the other, and it can be on purpose or on accident. And, for example, instead of saying, can I go to the bathroom, you might say, puedo ir al baño. And you have over 1 million neurons running about 7 billion miles per hour through your brain and around your body. Now, to add on to that, another fact is you have 2 cortexes in your brain, your motor cortex and your sensory cortex. Another name for your sensory cortex is your somatosensory cortex. Both of these run in and out of your brain, sending messages throughout your whole entire body, and they help you use your language abilities. Not just your language abilities, but they can also help you use your arms and legs and other parts of the body. Now, you might ask, how do kids learn so fast? Well, kids learn so fast because they have fibers that connect to us. Very chatty beings. We chat a lot, and we also learn to communicate with our environment. And as we grow up, we don't just communicate face to face, but we can also communicate via technology, Skype, and other ways, like writing a note on a Post-it note. All of these ways, you need to use your language abilities. Now, you might ask, sometimes your language abilities don't work properly, and that can be caused by a disorder in the brain called aphasia. Aphasia is a disorder that can not only affect your speaking, but it can also affect your reading and writing. Now, aphasia, sometimes when you're speaking, you might not be able to make sense out of words, and you might make weird noises. And aphasia can be caused by a brain tumor, which is cancer, a brain injury, or a stroke. If you want to help people that have been affected by aphasia, you can donate to associations like St. Jude's Cancer Association or HCIA, which is another association that helps people speak after they've been affected by aphasia. Thank you to my mom, dad, friends, family, and teachers, and the authors of books and articles that I've read to help me finish my capstone project. And thank you for listening.
Ava, come on up.
You got it, Ava. Yes, you're amazing. We love you.
Yay.
He's like really serious. Okay.
Ava, recuerda el micrófono arriba, mi amor, para que se te oiga bien. Exacto. Muy bien.
Have you ever thought about equal pay for women athletes? Because I have. My name is Ava Marissa, and this is why I chose this topic. I've always thought equality is something that everyone should have, and everyone should be treated the same. I also thought about women athletes and how they don't get paid the same as men. First, I wanted to know how this all started and why women didn't get paid enough. And I know back in the day, it was unusual for women to have a job. The men would go out and get jobs while the women would stay home. And I thought when they started to get a job, it was unusual. People doubted them, even though they were doing the same job, they didn't get paid enough. And that can also happen with women athletes. One of my second questions was, who are some women athletes that are impacted with this problem? And I did some digging, and it was a really big topic. It was a U.S. national women's soccer team. I did some more digging, and they filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer Federation for gender discrimination. Some of those people were Carly Lloyd, Megan Rapinoe, and Alex Morgan. I encourage you to get more involved. You can visit Women's Rights Movement online, and you can also donate to charities maybe for women's rights. There are a lot of important women in this world that help with a lot of things, and if they feel like they're not getting treated the same as men, they can step back and we can lose a lot of important people. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to my amazing teachers and my amazing friends that have helped me with this.
Ella, come on up. One second.
Many people believe that bones just give us structure, but they're more sophisticated than that. My main question was, how do bones actually impact us in normal life?
I think it's a very important topic.
I think it's a very important topic because bones are not talked about nearly much as necessary. They are so important because they help us do simple activities such as running and walking every day. Another question I had was, while I was researching, was that how many different types of bones are there? I found that there are 5 different types of bones in the human body: long, short, flat, irregular, and sesamoid. Long bones are the humerus, radius, ulna, metacarpal, metatarsal, phalanges, tibia, fibula, and femur. The short bones are the carpals and tarsals. The flat bones are the scapulae, ribs, cranial bones, and sternum. Irregular bones are the vertebrae and sacrum. And sesamoid bones are where tendons cross your patella and the knee. Patella is also better known as a kneecap. We have all seen a cute baby before, but not many people understand what's actually going inside of them with their bones. That's why my question was, what exactly happens to babies' bones during development? I found that their bones are actually made of cartilage, a strong and smooth substance made out of Klondikes, and while babies are developing, they actually have tails, and also that babies are born with 300 bones instead of the normal amount of 206 in the human adult body. Spongy bone is very important and delicate. Spongy bone gets its name from it looking like sponge, and also are the vessels inside. They're also very important for us to keep blood flow through our bones. You can donate by going to places like Red Cross that helps people with not exactly just bone things, but also people who need medical care in general. Thank you to all the people who helped me finish this presentation. And also thank you for listening to my capstone.
Let me clean it. Wipe it down. You want to go through your slides, right? You don't want me to change?
Yeah.
Give me a second. Marissa Lord next.
Escape.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marissa. My bad. Don't worry. That's on me. That's the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure most of you know the importance of water. I mean, I hope you do. It's 75% of the earth and 60 to 70% of the human body. But have you ever wondered about the properties of water or why water acts the way it does? Well, I have. That's what I've been researching. What are the properties of water? My name is Marissa Lord, and I became interested in this topic because I realized how little I actually knew about water. And I thought, if this is the most important substance on earth, why don't I know anything about it? I actually done another project on water earlier this year, and it got me thinking. I spent, a month or so learning about the right to clean water, and I barely knew anything about the composition of it. Well, at first, my uninformed self thought, what is water made of? And I soon learned that it's not made of one property or thing, but of many, and there are two that are the most important. These two are called cohesion and adhesion. Cohesion and adhesion cause or help other properties such as surface tension created by the strength of water's hydrogen bonds, which join together and create a force by, you guessed it, cohesion. Capillary action also works by the cohesive and adhesive properties. It's actually caused by adhesion and surface tension. Capillary action can work in things such from as big as trees to just simple little science experiments. In trees, though, the water adheres to the roots, and then the roots help it get along into the veins of the tree, where the surface tension creates some sort of a barrier, keeping it in place, while the water adheres to the outside of the vein, and like something clicks, and all that force gets propelled upwards into the branches and leaves. Next, I asked myself, what makes water so important or so powerful? And I soon learned an awesome name that people call water and a really cool fact about it. Because of its incredible ability to dissolve things. Turns out water is a solvent. It's actually called the universal solvent. Just imagine everything as its molecules. This is actually salt. The Na and the Ci come together to form one sodium molecule. Sodium molecules have positive and negative charges, as do most, as well as water's. And so when salt gets poured into water, water's hydrogen bonds' positive charges attack sodium's negative charges, and vice versa. The negatives attack the positives, and the water will put so much force into this action that eventually the salt will dissolve. But that's not entirely true. Its name does. As I hope a lot of you know, oil and water don't mix, which means there's no way for water to dissolve oil, no matter what happens. When I searched up the properties of water on many websites, I noticed that surface tension was very present there. Surface tension, which I talked about a little bit before, is really cool. One example that I think is one of my favorite examples is somebody pouring a liquid or even just water into a glass of water from a height. Notice what happens. It'll splash, right? Everybody knows that. But have you ever wondered why? It doesn't ever break the surface when it gets poured in. It actually stretches it. And you can see the resemblance in the ripples of the water and then the water droplet gets propelled back upwards. Next up is viscosity, and there's not a lot to say about it. It really just depends on the stickiness or the thickness of the liquid. Water is one of the least viscous substances in the world, and honey is up there in one of the most. Of all the things I've learned about water and its properties, I still believe that cohesion and adhesion are the basis of the way water acts. They relate to, undertone, or even kind of push the other properties out of the spotlight when they're working their magic. They're the basis of life in a way. They're water support system, and water is ours. Just think of it this way. We rely on water, and water relies on those properties. Simple, actually, once you come to think about it. There are hundreds of thousands of articles on sites like Khan Academy and Newsella, and tons of videos on YouTube, and the kids should see this. On YouTube, you can even find a ton of videos in Spanish. I encourage you to learn more about this topic and find out what really keeps Earth alive and well. I want to thank my teachers, my friends, and my family for supporting me all through this project, and especially to my teachers for sparking my interest during our Children's Rights Project. And lastly, I want to thank you for being here and listening to my project.
Muy bien. Y por último, en este grupo tenemos a la maravillosa Ellis.
Over the past year, I've been watching Netflix a lot. I wanted to know more about the history. My inquiry question was how Netflix started. Hi, my name is Ellis, and my passion project is Netflix history. First, I wanted to know how Netflix started. It started in 1997, and the founders are Reed Hastings and Mark Rudolph. Reed invested $2.5 million to start Netflix. Well, it started as a DVD company that would ship your DVDs that you want, but now they're an app. Blockbuster and Netflix were competitors, and Netflix won. Talk about the competition. Next, I wanted to know how Netflix decides what shows
to add to their collection, so I asked an expert. During an interview with the movie and show producer for the Americas, he said that there are 3 different ways to get pitched. They come with a script or a scissor reel, which is a video of the show, or they come and present it. He told me that they buy most of the shows and movies, etc. And also, did you know that Netflix has over 15,000 titles?
Also,
Also, did you know that the average Netflix subscriber watches 90 minutes a day of Netflix? I realized that Netflix has changed over the past year because we haven't been in movie theaters. And we all know that Netflix and Disney Plus have been a really big hit. I encourage you to learn about this because it is very interesting for me, and who knows, you can know more than me. I'm gonna thank my friends and my teachers and my parents for helping me with this project, and thank you for listening.
Nice job, guys. So that ends our second block of capstone presentations. Thank you so much, parents, for joining us live on Zoom. We will also be sending you the link because that has all been recorded. And you also have the links to the Padlets where all their work is. So thank you so much for joining us. Excellent job, guys. Awesome.
Coming home.
The last one.